What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we are going to be building a very simple hero section with React.js and Tailwind CSS. So Tailwind CSS is a CSS framework that helps us to design our websites or style our websites with ease. It makes things a lot simpler. It makes things a lot easy as compared to vanilla CSS. We're going to be using utility classes that we can leverage on to build this hero section. So if that sounds interesting, please hit the like button, and if you are new to this channel, do well to subscribe as well, as I'll be uploading these kinds of videos every week. So if that sounds interesting, please subscribe to this channel for more content. Okay, so this is the hero section we have here, and we have this header, simple header here with some three tabs. We have the home tab, about, and then the contact us tab. And when you hover on it, you are going to notice that the text blinks, right? It's sort of blinking if you take a careful look, a close look at it. Now, this is just done by using a simple utility class in Tailwind CSS. Very simple. And we are going to see how we can do that in today's video. So don't forget to hit the like button and then subscribe to this channel as well if you haven't already. Okay, let's quickly get started with building this hero section. So first thing is to open your directories and create a new folder, right? Everywhere you want to, anywhere you want to create. So I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it hero section. Now I'm going to open this folder in a terminal, right? I'm going to open it in a new terminal, and then we are going to run this command. We are going to see npx create react app. So npx create react app is just a command that we can use to bootstrap our project with React. So it's just going to install all the necessary dependencies we need to start building our application or our website with React. So I've just written npx create react app, and then I've added a dot. Now this dot simply means it should install all these dependencies within the same folder, which is the hero section folder I created. Now if you want it to create inside a new folder, you can just add a new name, add a name to the project. So I'm going to say npx create react app, and then the name you want, so be it hero section something. Then it's going to create the folder and then install all the necessary dependencies within that folder. But we are using the same folder we just created, so that's why we are adding the dot or the full stop there for it to install all the dependencies inside that folder. Now this is going to take a couple of seconds or minutes, if you may say, and the installation will complete in just a moment. All right, so the installation is completed. We can now get started. So we're going to do code dot to open this directory in VS Code for us. Okay, so now we are in VS Code, and we have all the necessary dependencies we need to start building this with React, right? We have this app.js, which is the entry. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now is to run npm start in the terminal. To open the terminal in VS Code, just do command J or command plus tilde, and it's supposed to open in the terminal for us. All right, so if you see this spinning React icon, then it means that you have successfully installed React. All right, so now the next thing we want to do is to install Tailwind CSS, right? So open a new tab and then go to Tailwind CSS, hit the first link, and then we're going to click get started. Now when you click get started, you get this documentation here, but then we are going to choose a framework which we are using, which is create react app. And you have these different frameworks where you can see the guide for installing Tailwind CSS, but we are using create react app, so we're going to watch the guide for create react app. Now we've already installed React, so the next thing we want to do is to do npm install the Tailwind CSS. Let me split the terminal and then paste the command in here. And then the next command is npx tailwind css init. Copy that. So when this one is done installing, and then we initialize the config file. So let me paste the one I just copied, which is npx tailwind css init, and then it creates this tailwind.config.js file for us. Now the next thing we want to do is to copy this content item here. So within this content array, we want to copy this thing here, and then we paste it inside the content array here. Now this is simply telling React that Tailwind should work within all these files. So within the src folder, any file with the .jx extension or the .jsx or .ts or .tsx extension, Tailwind should be able to function over there basically. So that's what this line is here means. That's why we have it in the content array. All right, let's see what's next. Now we want to copy everything here into the index.css file. So within the index.css file, we're going to clear everything here, and then we're going to paste what we just copied. All right. Okay, so let's see what's next. And then npm run start. You have it already starting. Okay, now let me copy everything here. So this is just to test if everything is working or if Tailwind CSS is working. So if we open app.js, and then I'm going to clear everything here because this we don't really need this. I'm going to clear everything here and then paste the code I just copied. And let's see what we have now. We have this hello world here, which means Tailwind CSS hasn't yet started working. Because if you watch the utility classes here, we are saying text 3xl, meaning the text should be of. So this is basically the class name, and then its corresponding CSS value is what? Font size should be 1.875 rem, and then it should have a line height of this. And then the font should be bold, right? So font width 700, and then it should be underlined, right? Text decoration underline. So this is what we are supposed to see, but then it seems we are not seeing that, which means the Tailwind CSS hasn't started working. Now this is because we just installed it and our terminal, our React app was already running. So what we want to do is to cancel it or quit the running session and then restart. I'm going to say, let me clear the terminal, and then I'm going to say npm start for it to restart the React app again. Now this time it should be able to give us the corresponding styling that we've defined. Okay, so as you can see, it has changed. We have a bold text and it is underlined as well, exactly what we wrote in the CSS classes. Now this simply means that Tailwind CSS is working, and we can now go ahead and start building our hero section. All right, so let's move back to VS Code. And the first thing we'd want to do is, first of all, we need to add a background image, right? Because from the demo at the start of the video, we saw some apples and some water splash, etc. Now that's an image, so I'm going to add that image. Let's add that image. I carry this images folder, and I'm going to put it within the src folder. So we have the images here. Now I'm going to add it as a background image, but first of all I'm going to have to import it. So I'm going to say import bg from, then I define the path. So I'm going to say /, meaning within that same directory that the app.js file in, look for the images folder. All right, now when you find the images folder, look for within the images folder, you're going to find apple splash.png. So I'm going to say, let me expand this a little. I'm going to say apple splash.png. So this is the background image we've just imported. Now, before we even start using the Tailwind CSS, I'm going to use an inline style just for the background so that we see how we can do things in different ways. So first of all, I'm going to say const style equals, and I'm going to define the background image. So the background image is going to be this URL, which is the BG I just defined. And then I'm going to say the background size should be cover, and then the background shouldn't repeat. We don't want it to repeat, and it should also be positioned in the center. Now when we do this, we've simply defined a style, right? Now how are we going to use it? First of all, within this div, let's make it a main. So this is going to hold the whole hero section. So I'm going to say main instead of div. Okay. And then within this class name, you are going to start using our utility classes from Tailwind CSS. So the first thing we want to do is to say height should be screen, and then the width should also be screen. Now this simply means that the height should be 100 view height. Now 100 view height simply means it should take all the space available on the screen, right? It should take all the height of the screen, and then um, the width screen, W screen simply means you take all the available width of the screen, basically. So this is what we want it to do, and that's what it's going to do. It's taking all the available screen it has. Now we want to set the background image, right? So we've already defined the height, the size, and everything. Okay, let's clear this because we are not going to use this. So we defined the height and then the width and everything. So the next thing we want to do is for the style, right? The style, we want to add this style we just created, this custom style we just created. So I'm just going to put this in there and put the style there. Now we're going to see the background image on the browser. So if you go back and open the browser, you can see we have the image in here. We have the apple with a splash and then these circles, etc. But this is not what we saw earlier, because we saw it to be on a darker background, right? Now we are going to fix this. We're going to fix this. So within the, let me squeeze this a little. Within the index.css, we're going to do something, right? Within the index.css, we're going to see at layer. First of all, what we want to do is to access the body or the body of the whole website, right? We want to be able to target the body and insert some designs over there. So we're going to say at layer, and then we target the base, right? Because like the base. And now we're going to say the body, right? Because we need to style the body. And then for the body, we are going to apply some styling. Now we are going to say apply. Instead of using this BG gray 100 thing here, I'm going to set a hex code, right? So to set a hex code, I'm going to put it in an array box like this, because that's how it works in Tailwind CSS. Tailwind CSS has its own custom colors, but then if you want to add your own color, or you want to add your own hex code of color, you're going to have to put it in a box bracket or an array box like this, right? So I want to add a hex code, so I'm going to put it in an array box, and this is the hex code, #191620. So 191620. So this should give us the color we need. So as you can see, it has changed, and we have the background color, and we have the image there as well. Great. So let's move back to app.js. The next thing we want to do here is to start build the header, right? Now for the header, we're going to make it a component. Okay, we're going to make it a component. We're going to say header. I'm going to call it header. We've not yet created it, so within the src folder, create a new folder and call it component. Now within components, I'm now going to add a new file, which is header.js. Now within header.js, I'm going to say rafce, and this is going to give me the boilerplate I need to start building a React component. Now rafce is just an extension I have installed, which is React ES6. Let me see, React ES6 syntax, ES7, ES6. Yeah, this is it. ES7 plus React, blah blah blah. So you need to install this to be able to do rafce to get the necessary boilerplate. Okay, so for the header, let's start styling the header. For the header, the first thing we want to do is to style the header. Now we're getting an error here. That's because we haven't imported it. We haven't imported the header. So I'm going to import the header right now. So I'm going to import it. So as you see here, we have import header from component and then header. So we have defined where the header is, and then we have it imported. So inside the header, we're going to start styling. I'm going to say class name, and I want it to have an absolute position. So we say absolute. So when you hover on it, you're going to see the corresponding CSS value, which is position absolute. So you see how simple it is to be using Tailwind CSS. I just had to write absolute, and then it gives me the corresponding CSS value. Now, if this was to be vanilla CSS, I now have to give it a class name, move to the CSS file, and then start writing all this styles, CSS styles. It's a lot of work, right? But then this is a lot easier, adding just the utility styles. Okay, so the next thing we want to add is say width full. We want it to take a full width. So the width should be 100%. As you can see, the width is 100%. And then we're going to say height. Height is 4 rem. height is 4m. So we say h-4m. So as I said earlier, if you want to add a custom value, you are going to put it in this box and then put the value in there. Now when you hover on it, you're going to see the corresponding value, which is just height 4m. Now if you want to be able to hover on it and see this corresponding CSS value, you need to have an extension installed. So it's called Tailwind IntelliSense. So let's see, Tailwind IntelliSense. Now if you have this installed, that's when you're going to be able to see all the CSS values. Okay, so we want the height to be 4 rems, and then we want padding on the y-axis to be 4. Right, so padding on the y-axis should just be 4, and that's what we want. Now the corresponding value is padding top 1 rem, padding bottom 1 rem, basically. So that's it for this div. Now if you want to see what we actually have there, let me say bg white, which simply means background is white. Now you see this is what we just done. We have this, it has taken the full width, and we have a height of 4 rems. So let me remove it, remove the background color here. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is add this on ordered list. So I'm going to say ul, and then the ul is going to take li, which is a list item. And the first item we want to put in the list item is home. Right. Now let me duplicate this, and then I'm going to say, let's style this. So I'm going to say class name. Now I'm going to paste in the styling for this, so that then I'll explain after. Yes, so I've pasted it in there. Now this is what we have here. We are saying that the text should take this hex code, this color there, and then the font here should be bold, right? Font bold, which means the font weight should be 700. Now we want the text to be of size 1.1 rems, as you can see here, font size 1.1 rems, and then the cursor should be pointer. So as you can see, cursor is pointer, and then when you hover, right? When you want to apply a style on hover, you use this hover and then add this column after. And when you hover, we want to animate pulse, right? We're adding an animate pulse. Now this will make it to give us that blinking effect. So right now, if you go back, you have the home text here, and when I hover on it, you can see that it is giving this blinking pulse thingy here. So as you can see, it's blinking, it's giving a pulse something over there. Yes, so that's how simple it's done. You just add animate pulse, and then you get this effect. Now we have other options too, not just the pulse. Now when I clear the pulse and then I open the options by simply doing Ctrl+space, we have first of all animate none, which simply means we don't want to add any animation. We have spin, which will make the text spin. So let's try that and see. When you go back and hover on it, the text should spin. Okay, it's not spinning, probably because it's a text. Let's see. Okay, let's try something else. Let's try bounce. Okay, let's try bounce and see. So when you hover on it, we want it to bounce. Yeah, as you can see, it's now bouncing. Simply by adding animate bounce on it, it is bouncing. That's pretty cool, honestly. That's pretty cool. You don't really have to write a lot of code to make this thing happen. Now when you hover on it, this is the corresponding CSS value, right? Which is just trying to say that by writing animate bounce, you are able to simply squeeze all the CSS code into this text, basically. And that's pretty cool. Right, that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's take it back to what we want it to be, which is just the pulse. So animate should be just pulse. So when you hover on it, it should just give us a pulse and give us this blinking effect. Okay, so let's add this same class to the subsequent tabs. Let's paste it in here. But just that this time the text should be white, so we're going to say FFF for white, and then instead of here being home, I'm going to say about, and then here would be contact us. Okay, let's see what we have here. So we have this we have these items here, we have these tabs here. Great. So now let me squeeze this a little so that we can see the changes as it takes effect. Now let's style this UL as well. So I'm going to say class name. And then the first thing we want to do is what? Add a flex. Now flex simply means display flex. You want everything to be on the side of each other, right? And when you hover on, you're going to say flex, meaning what? Display, and then flex. And I'm going to say items center, which means what? Align item center. It's going to align the items directly in the center, right? Like they are going to be in the center of each other, horizontally in this. It's going to align them horizontally in the center. Okay, so we are also going to say justify center. Sorry, vertically in the center, right? Vertically in the center. So the next one is justify center, and it's going to align them horizontally in the center. Now justify center, and then we are going to say space x should be 10, which means for all these items on the x-axis, space them out, right? On the x, meaning space out on the sides of all the items within the UL or within this particular container, right? So space x will space them out with 10 units. So when you hover on it, you're going to see the corresponding CSS value. Suppose we're using vanilla CSS, right? This is cool, right? This is very cool. It makes our work a lot easy. Now we are also going to see the width should be full. We want the width should be full just to make sure everything is fine. And then the padding on the x-axis should also be 6. Okay, so yeah, basically this is all we need to do. This is all we need to do for the header, and we have this simple header where you can hover on it to see the pulse, and pretty cool. Okay, so now the next thing we want to do is to add the text we saw underneath it, which is the creative and then the design studio. So we're going to open the app.js file, and that's where I'm going to start adding those items. So within the app.js file, I'm going to add a new div. And then within this div, I'm going to add an h1, right? And then this h1, I'm going to say creative. I'm going to say creative. And then for this creative, let's start it. Let's say class name. And the text is going to take this hex code. Now this hex code is 98EC65. So 98EC65. And we should get this green color. Great. And then we want the font to be bold. And then the text should be 5 rem. We want it to be huge, so 5 rem. Great. So the next thing we want to do now is to add another h3, and within this h3 we are going to say design studio, and let's style that one as well. I'm going to say class name, and design studio should take this style. The text should be white, and then the text size should be 2 rem, and then the font should be bold. And now let's add a button. The button that was beneath it, and the button has a text in it which is explore now. Now let's start the button. Say class name, and then we are going to define a width. So we're going to say the width should be 10 rem. So that's going to be the width of the button, and we want to give it a padding on the y-axis of 6 pixels, right? So there should be a padding at the top and then a padding at the bottom of 6 pixels, and we want to be round the edges. So we are going to say rounded. But first of all, let me set the background image so that we clearly see the changes as they happen. So I'm going to say the background image should be the same color we have here. So let me copy it and then add it in here. Say hash and paste it in here. That's going to be the background image. So we have the button here, explore now. And then I'm going to round the edges, right? I'm going to round the edge. So I'm going to say rounded. Rounded should be 3XL, right? And it should round the edges. So as you can see, the button just had this rounded edge. When you hover on it, so I'm just going to see the corresponding CSS value. So rounded 3xl simply means border radius of 1.5 rem, basically. So that's what we have it there. And then we want to do something. We want to change the color when we hover on the button. So I'm going to say hover. And then the background should be this hex code H1E047. H1E047, like so. And then let's add a margin at the top. So I'm going to say margin top should be 1 rem. Great. So this is what we have. But that's not where we want it to be. So it means we need to style this div, right? We need to style this div where it finds itself. So I'm going to say class name, and then we're going to say the height should be full, right? And then the width should also be full. And then we're going to say flex to align everything in horizontally. And then also going to say flex column for it to go back to default where it came from. Flex column. And then we're going to say justify center. Now this is going to bring everything to the center, right? Justify center. And then we're going to add padding on the x-axis of 4 rems, right? Yes, so basically everything is now looking how we want it to be, aligned perfectly. And yeah, so this is it. This is just a simple hero section we have built here with React and then with Tailwind CSS utility classes. And you can realize how easy it is to use Tailwind CSS to design our website. I'm sure by now you are really interested to know more about Tailwind CSS. If that's the case, do want to subscribe to this channel, as I'll be bringing in more related content, building such websites, building applications with React.js and then Tailwind CSS, etc. So if you find this interesting and you want to see more, do like this video and then subscribe to the channel as well, because like I said, I'll be posting new videos every single week. So if that sounds interesting, please subscribe to the channel, and you're going to help the channel grow, and more people will also gain access to the channel and enjoy this free content as well. Thank you very much for watching at this point, and catch you in the next video.